Annie Get Your Gun is Andrea McArdle. And sounds familiar. It's because Andrea was the original Broadway star of Annie. How does one get from Broadway to San Bernardino?
They called and asked me to do it, and I said, you know, I would love to. So, because Annie Get Your Gun it's a great show. And especially for me because she is, usually they have older people playing the role, but actually she was 16. So I'm way past that now. I'm 19.
Well, you're getting old.
Yeah.
The girl that I marry will have for me as soft and as pink as a nursery dog.
This is not the first time Andrea has played Annie Oakley.
I did it at my high school in my senior year. And,
Knock 'em out?
well, it's funny. I mean, the kids who I did it with were as serious, if not more, than me. Maybe because it was more casual and not formal, that I had to be, you know, good and perform and, you know, all that other stuff. But it turned out really good, and it was a lot of fun.
Andrea hopes to continue her career in musical theater, but she admits that if a television series came along, she'd snap it up because of the tremendous exposure. Being a Broadway star at 13 years of age is a tough act to follow.
Annie was the first musical I'd ever done, aside from one, dinner theater, King and I, which every kid has done probably. And it was my first show. And I think because of that, because it was such a great experience, I probably will always like theater best, besides singing. People ask me all the time, was it hard because you were 13? I think it was a lot easier because I was that young. If it would have happened to me now, I mean, I don't know whether I would be able to handle it or not.
The production of Annie Get Your Gun opens tonight here at the California Theater and runs through November 20th. Andrea McArdle is surrounded by a cast of 47 players, making this a major production, especially for the Inland County area. Cal Campbell, News 4, San Bernardino.
And that's our news at 5
Get Your Gun. We'll have that and more in just a minute.
Little Orphan Annie, now all grown up and shooting at another Annie role. This one is a bit off-Broadway. It's in San Bernardino, as a matter of fact. And Hollywood correspondent Gary Franklin is here with more on the latest adventures of Andrea McArdle.
Off-Broadway is right, Sandy. It's a long haul from the San Fernando Valley to San Bernardino, but it was worth it to see the San Bernardino Civic Light Opera Association's Annie Get Your Gun with Andrea McArdle in the lead. Channel 2's Kim Mariner interviewed Ms. McArdle while I saw the show.
Folks are down where I come from, they ain't had any learning. Still they're happy as can be, doing what comes naturally, doing what comes naturally.
The young actress who plays Annie Oakley is the young woman who first came to general public attention playing another Annie, Orphan Annie. Andrea McArdle played the very first Orphan Annie on Broadway, a part she knew she'd have to leave one day because of what came naturally. She grew up.
I was 13 or 12 and a half when we started, and I was 14 and a half when I left. And up until 14, I really looked about 9 or 10. But then when I hit 14, I started looking 14, and I felt 14, so I didn't want to be a little kid. I wanted to be a medium-sized kid. So I was glad. I mean, it happened at a good time.
The girl that I marry will have to be as soft and as pink as a nursery.
McArdle comes to Annie Get Your Gun after appearing in various Middle America productions of Grease, The Fantastics, and Meet Me in St. Louis. But as with many child performers, the transition to the older parts was difficult at first.
It happened to me about 16 because I looked too young to play ingenue, but I was definitely too old, physically and mentally, to play children. So I did hit an awkward stage, I'd say, for about a year and a half. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do because I was in school and I wanted to go to college, and I still might, but now I'm getting offered all these roles that I wanted to do then, so I'm not going to stop, and I just want to work for a while.
bum. A good show. The San Bernardino Theater is clean, comfortable, impressive, old. The Annie Get Your Gun sets are clever and interesting. Unfortunately, Ms. McArdle is okay, but she's no Ethel Merman or Debbie Reynolds, which is the kind of powerful, charismatic talent that the musical comedy demands. There is an outstanding performance by Dick Fuchs, who plays the manager, Charlie Davenport, a talent to watch for the future. So, Annie Getting Her Gun in San Bernardino on the Franklin scale of 1 to 10, 10 being best, a 7. One other point, Andrea McArdle is also a fine talent, to be sure. I've enjoyed her before. I think I'll enjoy her again in future roles, perhaps better suited to her talent.